Hello, welcome. My name is Marion Queen Melissa, and I'm presenting the implementation of PDF to audio conversion for visually impaired students by the group MakCoderz. I'll briefly go over the contents of this presentation. We have the problem under investigation, the background of the study, significance of the study, the project scope, the problem statement, research questions, hypothesis, research objectives, the proposed research timeline, the methodology, and references. Firstly, we state the problem under investigation. Reading is a very challenging task for visually impaired students for numerous reasons. Firstly, the technology available for them to read is quite expensive. It is also difficult to use, and it's not convenient for reading PDF files. We then discuss the significance of the study. The significance of the study is the importance of the study, probably to the society at large. The online PDF to audio converter will provide a reliable, effective, and convenient way for visually impaired students to access their reading. It will also reduce the costs for visually impaired students to read both electronic and manual publications. It will fasten visually impaired students' reading comprehension abilities. This is because they are not going to have to use braille material where they'll have to take time and go over letter by letter. They are going to be listening to the audio. The findings of this research may also be used as a basis to include audiobooks in the strategies used for education of visually impaired students, for instance, by teachers, librarians, and the students themselves. We then discuss the background of the study. We start with saying it is estimated that nearly 25.8% of all impaired people in Uganda are visually impaired. That's quite a large number if you think about it. And the strategies and technologies have been adopted to help the visually impaired people in their education journey. However, these tend to be expensive. I quote here that the price of one braille machine can range from $385 to $6,988, of which most people cannot afford that. These machines and the technology is usually imported. In case of damage, they are very difficult to repair. Most books right now also have an electronic version. Thus, this provides an opportunity to provide an efficient, effective, a cheaper way. It's easier and more convenient for the visually impaired students. I then discuss the project scope. The scope of this project will be Central Region of Uganda, that is Kampala, and will be focused on the visually impaired students in universities. This research is also concentrated on ascertaining how best to integrate PDF to audio conversion and to help visually impaired students in reading. Next, I discuss the problem statement. I state that the visually impaired students often require special services and reading material, as well as technology. For instance, the braille machine that I have talked about before. These tend to be inefficient as well as costly. Furthermore, visually impaired students are unable to read PDF files. This research aims to address the problem where we shall build a mobile application that will convert PDF to audio for visually impaired students. The next thing I discuss are the research questions. Here we talk about what do we intend to solve? What are we intending to solve? That's what we're asking ourselves. So we talk about what are the challenges faced by the visually impaired while reading portable document format files. And we also ask ourselves, how accessible are the current technologies to the visually impaired? As we have already discussed, some of these technologies are quite expensive. Then, what is the cost of the technology available to visually impaired students? We also try to answer the question, why do visually impaired students require PDF to audio conversion applications? Lastly, we want to ask ourselves and answer this possibly with our research. How complex are the available technology used by the visually impaired students? We state our hypothesis. Here, we are just making an assumption. What we hope comes true. It can either be true or false. That's the assumption of the hypothesis. We're assuming that the online PDF to audio converter can effectively and efficiently improve the reading comprehension abilities and the reading experience of visually impaired students. We then talk about the research objectives of our project. What do we intend to achieve? We start by the main or general objective. The main objective of this research is to provide a cost-effective and efficient technology for visually impaired students to access and interact with their reading material. We then break the main objective into the specific objectives. The first specific objective is to develop a PDF to audio conversion tool specifically for the visually impaired. Then to find out how to reduce the overall cost required by visually impaired students while reading material. We also intend to improve reading comprehension abilities for the visually impaired. We now discuss the proposed research timeline for our project. This research will be conducted within the estimated time period of 2 to 3 months. I break it down by task, the start date and the end date. We will defining the research problem. We started on the 17th of October 2022 and ended on the 24th of October 2022. We reviewed the concept and theories. This started on the 23rd of October 2022 and ended on the 28th of October 2022. We then reviewed previous research findings. This was from the 29th of October 2022 to the 2nd November 2022. I list them down as you can see. We have the formulating the hypothesis, which was on the 1st of November to the 3rd of November. We then designed the research, which is from the 3rd to the 10th. We then collected the data, which was from the 11th. Currently, we are still collecting the data to the 17th. We then intend to do data analysis from the 18th of November to the 25th of November. We then intend to interpret the data we have collected from the 26th of November to the 2nd of December. We then intend to discuss from the 1st of December to the 8th of December 2022. Then the final report or proposal, we intend to draft that on the 9th, from the 9th of December to the 25th of December. And then we expect the proposal confirmation to be from the 26th of December 2022 to the 3rd of January 2023. The methodology of this research. This is how we are going to carry out this research. For this research, we'll mostly use qualitative research methodology. We will incorporate surveys, literature reviews, observation, interviews as a way of gathering data and information during the research process on our focus group, the visually impaired. This will help us to understand the problem and to enable us to efficiently solve it. I then list down the references by citing my sources as listed here. Once again, thank you for listening to me.